These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people for their identity, and it is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways.
Okay, so Felix and Alex, I have a question for you at the top of the show. I just saw this streaming guy named Asmongold, I believe his name is, say that he supports the genocide of Palestinians because they come from an inferior culture. And I wanted to ask you guys.
They're like the cockroaches in my room.
Yeah,
they're like all these insectoids and vermin that are crawling all over my legs.
I wanted to ask you who this guy
like
was.
They're like the dead rat that I use him as as an alarm clock.
They don't even care about the health of their family members over there.
Asmongold is someone who you would describe, in 19th century parlance as a grotesque. He is a Texas-based streamer who is more well known at this point, I think, for his hovel-like living conditions. He famously had a dead rat that would sit on his windowsill, and he would use it as an alarm clock because, as he put it, when the sun would rise, the Texas heat, it would make the rat smell worse, and he'd go, "Oh, it's morning," and wake up. He's one of these streamers that makes like tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, but still pretty much lives like that. I didn't know a lot about him. I kind of liked him because he looked like Charles Martel. Maybe that's why he's so, anti-Islam, is that he is.
Yeah, he looks like he should have lived in the Middle Ages, like the early Middle Ages.
Yeah. He once he got streamed, he had probably the same teeth as Charles Martel. They were completely rotted, and he got really fucking freaky veneers. But I don't know. I've only encountered him once, and he's one of these I'm against political extremes guys. Like, I was on a very weird podcast stream, and the topic of our subreddit getting banned came up. And as listeners know, we are in favor of that.
Absolutely.
Getting banned.
Fuck those people.
They asked this grotesque about it, and he said, I think it's good because more political, we need to get rid of political extremes, which apparently, all Arabs are racially inferior, is not an extreme. That is just...
Yeah, it's like the weird centrist thing where you just can't really do that anymore. Maybe you used to be able to do that, where you could say that, they're the only democracy in the Middle East, and they're actually civilized. But a lot of the time we're talking about Mizrahi Jews, so you can't really make that argument.
Yeah.
And you're talking about Russian immigrants, too. So, the literacy rate for those people is 15%.
You're talking.
So I don't even know what you're talking about.
Right. Half of them, it's Russians with one half Jewish great-grandparent who, that their entry into politics is that they blinded a 7-year-old child by throwing a firecracker at them. And
they followed a trail of vodka down the Caucasus, and that's where they ended up.
Yeah. Or
that's the civilization they have.
Or a Mizrahi club promoter whose grandfather was named Abdullah, and he's like, I think anyone without a pure Hebrew name should be stoned to death.
Yeah, and his grandfather burned down his own club.
Yeah.
I was going to say, all I knew about this guy is that I just saw a clip of, as you said, Felix, a grotesque in, broadcasting from some sort of shack or some hovel of some kind, saying that he supports killing all Palestinians because they're products of an inferior culture, and evidence of the inferiority of that culture is that culture is in favor of killing people because of their identity. And then I just Googled Asmongold, and I just wanted to see okay, I'd like to see an example of someone who's the product of a superior culture who deserves to live and have human rights and things like that. And all I figured out was that he's a World of Warcraft streamer. But the fact that this cultural paragon is waking himself up every morning with the smell of a decaying rat is really better than I could have possibly imagined. So thank you for filling in the...
He presumably doesn't do that anymore. But the thing that I have before I knew that he wanted a genocide of all Arabs and Muslims, the thing that I thought was the worst thing about him was he lives in pure filth. and he's like just physically repulsive. No minutes, no hours a day dedicated towards, sweeping the floor or anything. And you would think someone who lives like that, well, at least they would be good at games. He's not, though.
No,
That's
he's just a
one of the-
consumer of games.
Yeah.
Like a
he's
lot of the
so-
people on the right wing, they're just consumers. They're just
Yeah.
people who like Star Wars and they're not really good at anything. And that's why they're so angry, because they can't actually prove that they're good at anything. They
That's
can't
why I love
beat anyone
AI
at
so
anything.
much.
It's just, I really like stuff, and you're supposed to give me money because I really, really like stuff. The
Yeah,
mainstream stuff that everybody my age liked, who stunk.
Demonius X was the most influential conservative thinker of the 21st
Yeah,
century.
a guy who just like I remember Super Mario Brothers. Where's my money?
Yeah.
Don't I get to be a CEO? I had a
Yeah.
fucking Super Nintendo.
I
know I'm not the best at it. I'm not really good at it. I'm not especially knowledgeable about it, but I remember Star Wars in Super Nintendo. So you're supposed to give me $1 million and I'm supposed to be the top of a feudal hierarchy. And then it doesn't happen. They're like, oh, fucking women. Fucking women and trans people. God damn it.
I remember Battletoads, and I'm sick of black people. Where's my parade? Yeah, I saw him playing Lies of P, which is a terrific. It is a Korean company made it. It's like sort of a mix between Bloodborne Souls and Sekiro. Amazing game. It was one of my favorites of 2023, and it is like kind of difficult, but it's pretty straightforward. I think if you put it in front of a child, they could eventually figure it out. But he was like, he freaked. He couldn't get it, and it's like, what else are you doing all day? Why can't you just learn how to get good at this? It's not like you're wiping. Oh, these are valuable minutes I could be spending wiping my ass or cleaning cockroaches out of my PC case. You're not doing that.
He reminds me of people that you would know when you're like 16 and you eventually stop talking to him because you're like, oh, he's just going to die in a pile of filth in his mom's house.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk to this guy on IRC because he's just going to he brags about not showering.
Yeah, my
it's
mom
just bumming me out.
I used to have friends like that. My mom would be like, they're going nowhere.
He's going to kill his mom.
They're going to kill their mom. They're going to flip over their car 50 times and kill everyone.
Yeah, like you'd have a friend that would like punch through a monitor every day, and his mom would buy him a new one. And you'd be like, what the fuck? Like for a second, you would be like, that's the life. I'm really jealous of that. And then you think for 2 more seconds, and you're like, oh fuck, man. Like I had a friend like that growing up who I stopped talking to, and his mom had cancer, and he would do that. He would like break all his shit because of Warcraft, and she would buy him new shit.
Those kids, their parents always have cancer. It's always some like beleaguered 60-year-old woman who can barely
they're too tired to argue anymore.
Yeah, it's a beleaguered 60-year-old woman who is just weak from chemo. There's just the awful, sad stench of death in the household, and all you can hear is just like the thump, thump, thump of the kid trying to kick his wall down because the Papa John's app won't work. It's so dire.
Yeah, like it's like the point in their life where they're supposed to be like, oh, I have to step up and be the man of the house. But they do the opposite of that. They're like, man, I can take advantage of this so much.
Yeah.
I can just use her credit cards to pay for whatever. And she's too tired. Like her vision is probably bad. So she can't even see the statements.
Yeah, they're like, well, I have to step up and be the toddler of the house. Like
all the shit I wanted to do when I was 5 and they wouldn't let me. Now's my chance.
I can finally buy knives on TV by taking money out of my mom's retirement account.
And Alex, I mean, when I checked his Wikipedia page, I was just like, okay, what's his cultural output? I assume he's a published author or professor or something like that. No, just World of Warcraft streaming. And then it was like career. And they were like, Asmongold took a hiatus from streaming when his mother died. And I was just like, I mean, your job is playing video games. When your mother dies as an adult, like he's like, I'm an orphan now. I need to.
Oh yeah,
his mom died of COPD or something like that.
Yeah, in his house, which had the rats in it.
It's a really hard time for me. I just killed my mom.
Like he was supposed to be taking care of her. That was a whole controversy. where people will point that out and they're like, oh, how could you say that? How could you say that she wasn't supposed to be breathing in rat poop? How dare you?
Yeah, it's a
This man
respiratory
just lost
disease.
his mother. He is an orphan at age 47.
Yeah.
That is the mark of like a true internet buffoon when like their grandma or mom dies. Someone who was born in 1973, their grandma
Yeah.
dies,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh,
all right,
real
20 years where you can't criticize me."
yeah. Oh,
And also, you don't have to seek gainful employment.
real mature. Our grandmother was just taken from us at the young age of 98, and you're going to come at me during this emotionally vulnerable time?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy because I remember like when my grandparents died, my dad probably took like 2 days off work.
Yeah, if my remaining grandparent died, she would, you know what she would want me to do? She would want me to do an extra 2 hours of content that day. Because that's what her family
She would
did
want you to do a
when they-
movie mindset episode with Y Tu Mama Tambien and Challengers.
Yeah, she would want me to talk about a very sexy movie that she would tell us all about, believe me. Like, I joked about seeing that Nicole Kidman sex movie with her. She would actually love to do that. That's her favorite thing to do, to watch a movie with full penetration. And she would want me to talk about it and do it. And I would never, ever take time away from making content. She would.
Yeah.
How do you think her family afforded to come to America? They didn't take a break from doing their podcast in 1907.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I always think about that with people talking about being nostalgic for their childhood and shit. It's like, do you think your parents wanted you to do that as an adult? Do you think they gave you that childhood so you could be 40 talking about missing your childhood? They wanted you to be fucking working and having a family. And it's like it nullifies the whole thing when you're like, man, I just want to be 12. It was so easy because that was provided for by your parents at a personal sacrifice to them. And you're like, that's not what they want you to be doing right now. They're like, why don't you get a fucking job? What are you doing?
Alex, you know
And you're
what the
like,
worst
fuck
part?
you, mom. I don't give a fuck about what you want. I liked you 20 years ago. That's when you were cool, when you were buying me stuff.
Yeah,
Alex, you know what the worst part about being an adult is that I can no longer wake up on Christmas morning and see all of the presents nicely wrapped that my parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles have got for me. And there isn't an equivalent like that for an adult, and it sucks. And we should go
It
back.
fucking sucks. We need to make Santa.
Yeah.
Why isn't there Santa?
I can't have sleepovers with my friends anymore. We can't stay up all night playing video games. I mean, I can
They
do
always
that, but I
expect
just
me
don't
to
have
fuck.
friends. Yeah.
The only people who want to sleep over are on Grindr, and they expect me to fuck, and it fucking sucks.
all the like nostalgia people, I love when they talk about like, remember when there wasn't all this woke shit in games, and what the feeling of enjoying things that they're describing is just like the time in their life before they had clinical depression from never doing anything.
Yeah. And it like, if you really are that good at video games, if it really is worth spending your entire life thinking about it, then you should be good enough at it to make money or be able to like be a game developer or something, but they're not because they're consumers. They're just consumers of mainstream kid stuff from Walmart. And now they're like, why aren't they buying me stuff anymore? It fucking sucks. Like, even if they had unlimited free time to do that, they would just be sitting and playing PlayStation all day. And then you ask them, like, do you have like a cool take on this or something or analysis? And they're like, yeah, it's really cool, but it's woke, I think. Well, like, all right, yeah, that's better than you having a job, sure.
I mean, I said it earlier, but I think that's why these people are so bemused and excited by the idea of AI, because they're like, now I can just type in a video game I want to play and it'll make it for me. And it's like, I did it myself.
And I hope the back doesn't fall out the other end of that, where the jobs get automated and then the economy keeps contracting and contracting and contracting. And it gets harder and harder to find the time to be like, I just want to play an AI generated porn game. Like, eventually the other hand reaches from behind and says, oh, you guys that are just like living rent free somewhere and you're playing AI porn games, we got to get you on the street.
Alex, it's like, did you see the thing this week where people were thrilled about the unveiling of Optimus, Elon Musk's service robots, and they're like, "Sayonara, bartenders. They're not going to ask for a tip on this drink."
I mean,
And it's just like
People have never been to a bar.
and like these people have not even reached the level of even like that level of employment, and they're like, yeah, they're all going to get replaced by freaking robots. And I suppose actually just being someone's child that they're like, even in their 20s that someone still has to be responsible for is sort of like an automation proof job.
I guess so, until your mom dies.
Yeah. until they come up with a robot that is able to just like eat all the Uncrustables and yell at his cancer-stricken mom. I mean, I don't know. I think maybe they could do it now, but it just lacks the human touch.
Hopefully the big AI, the big panopticon that rationalizes all the humanity out of the economy, they don't look at all these useless mouths to feed and just get rid of them. Hopefully the big AIs think, oh, these guys who are 43 talking about how they miss when video games used to be good. And they're just like smelling their dirty socks all day, sitting on a pile of dirty clothes. Like, hopefully the AI values those guys. The Matrix is going to put those guys right up top of the hierarchy.
They represent an intellectual elite.
Yeah.
If they get the economy they want, there will be quadcopters surrounding every. There'll be like there will be like a Minority Report screen where like a robot is looking and seeing like what houses bought the most Funyuns, and then they figure out those are the houses. You know, where a guy is ostensibly taking care of grandma, the grandma retirement plan. And they will immediately deploy a team of quadcopters to gun down the Asmongold type individual living there.
Yeah, they're going to be Wi-Fi connected microwaves, and it's going to pull your data, and whoever uses the microwave that the most is going to get cold or sent to the camps.
Felix, it's like the Israeli assassination algorithm is called "Where's Daddy." We just need a new one for this country called "Where's Grandma?"
Yeah.
To hunt down anyone even tangentially associated. But hey, I mean, this Osmongold Mongoloid guy, I mean, he's apparently very successful at this. So he represents sort of like a vanguard of financially successful grotesques who are able to prolong their life despite living in filth because of the money they get streaming World of Warcraft and like I said, celebrating the virtues of heroic Western culture.
Yeah.
We should send him over there as a dirty bomb. Don't even strap anything to him. Just send him to Tel Aviv and just have him walk around, and he'll just introduce bugs that they don't have immunity to.
Well, thank you for filling me in on this guy.
I want him to fill me in.
Yeah,
that's right. Give me that skinny nerd cock.
Yeah, oh my God. Put that Battletoad in me.
He could. There's a new rhythm game I'd like him to show me.
Yeah.